Hi, I wanted to revisit a bit about content here and talk about content calendars and how you can get get them set up so that they work for you. And it's about thinking about what's going to work in terms of your business and be most valuable. So, idea by the end of this video, you should be able to kind of have an idea of how you're going to put a content calendar together for your business. So, the first thing to do is to start with your goals. So it's really important, like, what do you want your content to do? Because at different stages of your business, it's going to be doing different things. So, for example, if you're launching, it's going to be very much focused on getting your message out there, talking about your launch, talking about what's happening. So, getting it out there, out there, out there. If you're in the early stages and maybe you want to start to build a bit more awareness about your brand and get engagement and build that audience, so your audience building, the content you're going to create is going to be very different to people who've got a really established audience and then they want to launch something and promote something, or they've got a large audience and they want to re-engage that audience because maybe it's gone a bit quiet. So you want to be thinking about where you are and what your main goals are. So start to think of like 2 to 3 main goals that you can keep focused on. So if you're in the early stages, maybe it's audience building and audience engagement. So you're starting to build that up. You're starting to build up a reputation. You're starting to get the audience involved in what you're doing, and you're starting to actually get an audience there in the first place. If you don't have an audience, you don't have anyone to sell to. So the initial bit is build that audience. So we get through that. If you're established, then it might be engagement and sales. So just starting to think about where you are. And then think about how often you want to post. Now, the more often you post, if you're growing, the faster you're going to grow. It's just a natural thing. So if you post once a week, it's going to take a lot longer for you to have any impact in any algorithm on any social media platform because it's quite an infrequent posting. If you're posting daily, then it's much greater chance that you're going to get an impact and you're going to get seen. And ideally, posting more than once a day. So adding things like engagement posts in. So you're posting on a regular basis and that keeps happening. So you keep adding more and more content because the more posts you put out there, the more you get seen. And it's just like that kind of concept. But let's work on a frequency that works for you. So if you think I can only commit to doing a post every other day, then make sure that post is really, really great quality and you get it out there. And you prepare it all in advance. Ideally, you would want to be thinking about trying to get one at least once a day, but you can start small and you can gradually increase. Just bear in mind that if you're only posting every other day, your growth is going to be more slow than someone who's posting once or twice a day. And it's just the natural order of things. So then you can start to think about what you want to put in your content, and you can sort of have content pillars. And this is where you can have things where you educate. You have content that educates. You can have content that inspires people. So there's some interesting there. You can have content that asks questions. So you're building that engagement in. You can have some content that promotes, sort of keep it to a minimal. You can have stuff that is just sharing. You can have myth busting content. You can have origin story content. So starting to think about how you want to put it all together. And maybe starting with 5 pillars, and you can have, because you can have an education post, you can have 2 a week, and then you have 1 promo post a week, so that's 3. And you can have a couple of ask posts where you ask questions, so you've got 5. You can have an inspirational post, that's 6. And then you can have like a myth busting post or something along those lines, so that you or a connection post, a post where you actually build connection with your audience. This is where you talk about your origin story, why you do what you do, and all of those kind of things. You have a connection post, a couple of education posts, an inspirational post, a promo post, and a couple of question asking posts. And that's your week all sorted. And you can think about how you fit them in the week. And that way you're starting to build up a plan. You're starting to get that together. You think, okay, well, these are the educational posts. So if you're doing a month and you've got to say, let's say we're doing 4 weeks. So you think, right, okay, I need 8 educational posts. And then you can decide what you're going to do and you can put those in. And then you think, right, okay, I need 4 inspirational posts. So how can I inspire people in 4 different posts and in 4 different ways? So starting to put that together. Are there 8 different questions I can ask? And can I be strategic so that people want to answer those questions? But it's also going to give me a little bit of market feedback so that I can feed that back into the educational posts that I create in the future, and all those kind of things. So thinking about how you can use it strategically, and then putting in some promotional posts in with it. So working that all out so it all kind of comes together nicely. Then once you've got a kind of structure, so you've put a calendar together, you can even, I like to do it on an Excel format and have boxes for calendars, or you can do it on a physical calendar. So you can bring up a calendar for the month. Like I say, Google on your Google Calendar, put the whole month up, and then you can put the posts in there. Or if you're using something like ClickUp, you can do it on there as well. Whatever feels comfortable for you, whatever you use to organize things, you might just decide to write it out on a piece of paper. It really depends on how you work, but start to get a map of how it's going to work. And then you can batch create. So you can think, okay, right, that's what I'm doing. Then you might, going back to the pillar, you might decide to have a theme for a month. You might decide not to do that. You might decide to just keep it general about your business. And so that's where you can decide how you put it together. But then you can sit down and you can batch create. Some of the ask posts can be very short, very quick, so you can get those sorted really quickly. The promo posts might be quite straightforward, so you can get those in. And then the other ones you work a bit more on and spend that time. And then rather than having to say spend 100 minutes a day creating a quality piece of post, a quality piece of content, you can sit down and create a month's worth of quality content over a couple of days and have it really ready to go and in really good order so that you can do that. And then there are things you can do. You can get scheduling tools to use. I don't actually use them because I'm on Facebook, and if I'm going to schedule things, I will schedule it via Facebook, and then that's enough for me. Or sometimes I don't always batch create things, so I will create it as I go. Or if you want to, you can actually just put the content straight into your calendar with a little time reminder so that you get a reminder on your phone. And that's when you will download that, go into that calendar, copy the content, put it in your social media, and away you go. So it's just about how you manage that for you. And let's just keep it on top of that. So then it's about monitoring which bits of content do really well. So you might find there's certain topics that get a lot of feedback, certain types of engagement posts or ask questions that get a lot of feedback, and how do your promo posts go, and which ones get the most traction. So starting to monitor how things are going. Because you can then say, okay, well, these are really valuable pieces of content. They did really well. They got lots of good feedback, or they got sales off them. So then you start thinking, okay, these are things that I'm going to reuse. I might change them slightly, but bearing in mind, in social media, 3 months later, you could be reusing the same or very, very similar content, and you're not going to have your audience remembering that you used it 3 months ago. So you can then put that into a bank of content for reuse. And even if you have some engagement posts that don't do so well, you can still think, well, I'll retry that in 3 months because my audience might be different, the algorithm might see it in a different way, and it will get a lot more engagement then. So just because thing hasn't done that well, it doesn't mean you can't reuse it, but it's just being aware of where you are with it. And then just to build a bit of flexibility in, because sometimes things will come up, something that's happening in your work, something that's happening in your life that you want to share, a little bit behind the scenes type of thing, or just general what's happening, and you want to be able to share that. And so being prepared to adapt and to change and to put new bits in and to even add more content as you're going through the month, and not feeling like, well, I've done this, that's it, I'm not going to do any more. If you've got a month of content prepared, then during that month, if other things come to you, new ideas, you can add them. And if things are happening in your industry that they need to be shared about, something new, you can be doing that as you're going, and just keeping that level of flexibility so that you're always there to add new and relevant content as and when it happens. So I hope this has been really helpful. So to get the idea of building a content calendar, decide on what your main aim for your content is going to be for that month. Get the pillars, and you can have set pillars that you always use and how you're going to use them. Batch create your content, and then be prepared to adapt and change and add new bits in as interesting stuff happens. I hope this video has been interesting for you. If it has, remember to click the subscribe button to get more things from me. And the link below that will give you details of how you can join me in my free school group and get even more free training from me, and direct access to me, and even one-to-one support. So hopefully I'll see you soon.